Hello and welcome back to the Fat Dad Fishing Show. My name is Rich Natoli, your regular host. Tonight we're going to be talking about the recap of the annual TOG fishing trip on the Osprey, New Jersey. And we're going to have Scotty Sevens on, Kristen McKee back on, who created quite a bit of drama at the end of the day yesterday. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to hit real quick. Look, this is going to be a quick hit show, right? We're not going to do in-depth stuff. Talk a lot about how to do things in fishing. Today's just going to be about how was it out on the water. That's it. We're probably not teaching anything. We'll probably just make fun of a bunch of people, including ourselves, and just have fun. And that's it. Then we'll get everybody out of here for the Eagles game. I don't know if you could tell it's green behind me, but it's Eagles green for the game that's coming up shortly. So going to hit the sponsors real quick, and then we're going to jump right into this one. Got to start off with Great Bay Outfitters. Paul, who was on the trip yesterday, had to make a quick exit because he had a dinner and a show that he had to get home and get changed, showered, and out for. But Paul, it was good seeing you out on the boat. Great Bay Outfitter for all your kayaking needs. Radio Road in Tuckerton, New Jersey. New kayaks, used kayaks, kayak accessories. My home shop should be yours. One of the top selling kayak shops in the entire region. So check them out. Quad State Tune. Kevin Driscoll was also on the trip yesterday, along with a whole bunch of people that came along with him. If you're looking for a tune for a Toyota truck, Tacoma, Tundra, 4Runner, Lexus, I think it's 470. I don't know. Lexus 460 and 470. These engine tunes will work for your trucks, for your SUVs. Talk about more horsepower, torque, better mileage, better shifting, and if you're towing a boat, just really, and you have a Toyota, really think about these. Call Kevin. He'll talk you through it, 484-633-5975. And if you don't need it, he'll just flat out tell you, yeah, you don't need it. It's not going to help. It's not going to get you what you want. Then the last one, if you want to buy or sell real estate in southeastern Pennsylvania, I'm your guy. Please reach out. Don't think I'm too busy. I am busy, but I'm not too busy, especially for the fishing family and the Fat Dad family. So give me a call, give me an email, give me a text, 267-270-1145. And as I say that, let me just double check. All right, my phone is on silent. And with that said, we are going to bring on first Kristen, Philly Girl Fishing.
Hey, y'all. Good to see you again.
And then we have Scotty Sevens back on. Scotty, good to see you, man.
What's going on, guys?
It was fun. You know what? I'm going to ask real quick for the chat. Is there an echo that everyone's hearing, or is it just me? So wait 10 seconds and we'll see in the chat. There is an echo. Okay. Well, we're going to battle through it because we don't know why. So why don't we do this? So Kristen and Scotty, if you can, the three of us will mute ourselves when we're not talking, and that might help a little bit. For those that are listening to the podcast, you may notice nothing because I may be able to clean this up in post. And if that's the case, then maybe I'll even delete this section. But bear with us, guys. You're good, but Kristen's also muted. Who knows what's going on, man? We don't have time to deal with that. We're all exhausted. We'll worry about. I'll worry about the audio later. I'm
not hearing an echo now.
No, not now. But you never know how all these things are interacting.
Yeah.
So I'll just do it. Well, look, I'm going to be watching the Eagles game and editing at the same time. It's all good. Cool. But we're going to jump into this. I want to first of all say to everybody, we sold that friggin' boat out yesterday. I think everybody on that boat was there because of the podcast and live stream, and it was great to meet everyone. Now, not everybody knew me, but people that know the show and heard that we were going brought a bunch of friends too. So it's not like they were all like podcast listeners or anything, but we were one big friggin' group and everybody acted that way. And it was awesome. I had so much fun, man.
Yeah.
Scotty, you were having fun in the back.
Oh, I was. I was just happy to not drive, but it just felt like one big family. You know, and just the vibe on that boat was like that was enough for me. My day was already made.
Yeah, I want to hear Kristen.
I was going to say, I definitely agree. I mean, I've fished, Saturday I jumped on Fill the Spot on a different boat in a different state for a charter, and it's like the difference in jumping on and filling a spot for people you don't know versus the vibe that we had on Sunday. I didn't like I knew a good chunk of people, but a good chunk of them I didn't, and like I'm more of a one-on-one conversation type of girl. So like to be able to just comfortably jump in and out of conversations, like by the end of the trip, me and Scotty and another gentleman were talking about guitars and
Yeah.
music and basses and pedals and everything like that.
Hmm.
So if anything I can say is kudos to the environment of people who can be competitive but still be absolutely professional and friendly and just nice people to hang with. Just a cool hang.
Yeah.
It was, and I'll say this. It's weird. Like I host a podcast and a live stream, right? And my job is talking in front of people. I am not that guy that is social. I get very uncomfortable. That's one of the reasons that I ask people to introduce themselves to me, because I'm very uncomfortable with that kind of stuff. So I kind of like to huddle, but it was great because everyone was talking to everyone. What I kind of am disappointed in myself for is because of the weather and because of the crew. The crew on the Osprey is incredible. We'll talk about them in a minute, but um JP, who's the captain, he was willing to just pick up and move. If it wasn't happening, he was picking up and moving. So by the time, like for example, I was near the back starboard side, and as soon as he determined it wasn't great, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll move. He's like, pull him up, we're moving. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. So then we go to the next job and I just drop in the same spot. And there was really only once where I was like, had time to move. And that was only because Scotty stole my spot.
I sure did.
And I ran and I took his spot.
Yeah.
But I never made it further around. So there were actually people I really didn't even see except in the cabin between spots. But man, it was such a good time. I had a really good time meeting people, talking to people, and there was some crazy crap that went on around that boat at various times throughout the day. As well.
Really? You think?
There were some crazy things. So
Really?
I want to ask Scotty, what was your favorite part of the day? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just what was your favorite part?
My favorite part of the day, okay, was first of all how it ended, but I'm not even going to go there yet.
Right.
However,
We'll
that
wait
was
for that.
my that was my number one favorite part of the day. But aside from that, it was just like my whole season has just been running and gunning and nonstop moving. If I'm not on the water, I'm stressing to get bait. Like
Yep.
it's just been nonstop moving. And this was the first time that I was on a boat where I could just relax and I didn't have to be hyper focused on the next move. And just getting to laugh and talk with people and spend time with people that, again, I think I put it in my post that you ultimately probably would never have gotten a chance to spend time with. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
That truly was like my day was made from the start because of all that.
Yeah. I agree with that. Kristen, how about you? What was your favorite part? And don't ruin the end of the day.
Yeah, not even in the end of the day. I think that again, I think that would say probably I'm gonna go back to that music conversation because to me, just like Scotty alluded to, there's a whole bunch of people that I probably would never cross paths with in
Yeah.
life if it weren't for me being on this boat. And I think that there's just so many different fishing is one of those hobbies that allows you to come together with one, starting general purpose, and then you never know how you're gonna connect on other levels. So,
Yeah.
as someone who works from home for all these years, like this is how I get to socialize. It's fishing and it's church and playing music. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed meeting some really cool people that I didn't get a chance to really get to know that well before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Or you may have just known from social media, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah. There were a lot of that. I will say that one of my favorite parts was at the very beginning. And if people remember, the last time we did this 2 years ago, we had a starfish caught and a lobster, and that was it for the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share this picture right here, the first one. I think it's like the third thing that came over the rail. Oh wait, was it there? No, let me. I'm going to skip through some of these pictures, but look at that picture. Starfish.
Yep.
Starfish was the first thing on the bait station, and he kept it. He kept it. But yeah, I was like, oh no, oh no, we're going starfish again. So that kind of set the tone for the day. The no starfish today. We're doing better.
Man, so last time you caught a starfish, but okay, so then that's progress because the keepers that we caught more than the starfish. That makes me feel a little bit better that there
Yeah.
was at least progress in that area.
I caught the starfish. Do you have that picture?
Not from a couple of years ago. I just had the pictures from. I only have a few pictures from this weekend. That's it.
Yeah. The echo's back. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think it's when
Yeah.
Kristen's unmuted. Yeah. Yeah, so I only have the pictures, and for some reason I couldn't get all of them uploaded. So these are just a few of them, but the starfish was funny. But I will say this, the first fish that I am aware of, and it was very, very close because on the very first drop, there were two fish that came up immediately, like as soon as it hit the bottom. Kevin Driscoll actually, as far as I could tell, was, and from what I heard, was the first one by seconds. So he had the first fish on the boat, and the starfish did come after that. So we already had a better start. No lobsters came up the entire day. Yeah, but it was Kevin Driscoll that had the first fish. And one of the things that I thought was really funny, and I don't know if he's in here right. Oh, he is. He just posted about it. I'm going to show this, the flying fishing rod with our buddy Benji, crabbing and fishing. His nose hurts bad today, and there's a reason. Now, Kristen, did you see when this happened, or did you just see the after?
All I saw was the after. So I turned around when all the commotion happened. I was like, what is going on? So I'd love to hear the background.
And Scotty, you saw this tape,
I
right?
may have captured it on camera.
Okay. All right. You're not sure?
I'm not sure, and I didn't want to put Ben on the spot with that.
Oh, I'm putting Ben on the spot with that. Are you kidding
okay?
Me? Are because you kidding? Because if we don't, Scotty, you just see it in chat right now. Joe Billups will.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Ben is going to be begging you for that footage because he's going to post it.
Okay.
So we're breaking the story right now.
Yeah, I mean, like after that happened, I think I told a story of me literally almost getting my ear ripped off last week.
Yeah.
So like, don't feel bad. It literally happens to everybody. I don't care how good you think you are. Dumb stuff happens on the water, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah, so I'll set this up. So this is it's one of those things, like something can go sideways really quick no matter what. And you're thinking, earlier in the day, for full disclosure, I turned around and I saw Joe Billups on the other side, and he had his kayak float on his rod. And I said, look at that. Joe didn't even take the time to take the yellow float off.
I was wondering all day what that was for, in case he dropped it in the drink, maybe.
Yeah. And then somebody said, well, you never know. You could still drop a rod out here. I was like, you're right. I was like, maybe I should have put them on my rods. And the next thing you know, we hear, probably 10 minutes later, we hear a commotion right near Joe, like right next to Joe. We hear, oh my gosh, whoa. And we all turn around. We're thinking big fish. And you see Benji, by the time we turn around, he has this rod way up in the air. JP, the captain, makes a really funny comment about what it looks like is going on over there. We cannot say it here, but let's just suffice it to say JP is, we got you, Scotty. Let's just suffice it to say JP is hilarious and inappropriate at times. And it turns out Ben got a bite.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Because I can't hear anybody.
Oh, we can hear you. Scotty's going to battle. Hold on a second, Scotty. Hold on. I got to take him off stage. Scotty, I'll bring you back in a second. So Ben sets the hook, and the rod way up in the air, and somehow loses grip on the rod. The rod. Now this is a TOG setup. It's probably a fairly expensive setup, and it comes out of his hand. The butt flies up because the fish is pulling down, and the butt hits him in the nose and goes flying overboard. So the rod is going overboard. Next to him is Christian Maldonado. He reaches over and catches the rod as it's going overboard, turns around, and within like a half a second has it back in Benji's hands, and he's now trying to fight the fish. I think the fish came off when all that happened. But man, we had the rod goes flying. Benji has this knot on his nose. Like he clocked himself with that rod. But yeah, we almost had that rod overboard on just a missed hook set that I'm what I'm guessing is when he said it hard, and he didn't expect the fish to be pulling as hard as it did, because it ripped it right out of his hands. So that's my guess as to what happened there. But I will tell you that he had a knot on his nose.
Well, that's impressive. Because at least he got it back. The one time I lost my rod overboard.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
All right, we're good.
But mine went over fluke fishing, and that was just me having slime on my hands. So I'm jigging, and it just literally slips out. And it was that Nexus setup I was telling you about that I've had for so many years. But somebody who was next to me cast it out real quick and wrapped the line around my line, because at least my stuff I usually fish light. And then we were able to get the net. Then by that time, when the mates came, got a net, and then I scooped it up and brought it up. So it's possible, but it's tough. If you lose a ride, you never know.
It is tough. I'll tell you, I've done both. I tend to do exactly what Benji did. So I will set, especially fluke fishing in a kayak, I will set hard all the time. People have seen the videos. I overset. And if my hand is wet, it's entirely possible, if I'm not wearing gloves, and that's the only reason I wear gloves, so I don't drop a rod, I will set it and drop the rod. I've had situations where I just sit there like an idiot and watch it sink. And then I've had some where I've grabbed another rod and snagged it on the way down. I think I've only lost one rod that way, but I've lost several rods on the kayak. And most of the time I just go into like idiot mode, and I just sit there and like, and then I'm thinking, oh, I should try to get it, and now it's too late. It's either dive in or just watch it sink. So
I'll tell you what, I've lost a couple rods in the drink myself, more than I care to publicly admit. One of my favorite ones, yeah, long story, but I was out chasing albies on my old boat, which had no rod holders except for the two clamp-ons that was on the tow bar. You know what I mean? And it was rough. And I looked back after like 5 miles and it was gone. I had another one go in the drink. Just dumb stuff. You know what I mean?
It happens. And Benji's actually saying it was a good rod. It was a dark matter. So
yeah,
that one would have hurt. That would have hurt. So Christian, good job, man. You saved the day over there. And Benji did keep a really good attitude after that. And you could tell that had to have hurt. I mean, I think it looked like he was punched in the face. Like his nose was not doing well.
Yeah. He was quiet a lot after that.
Yeah, well,
but I'll tell you this. I saw every time I look over, I swear I saw Ben swinging on something. He was getting a lot of bites, so props to Ben.
Yeah, I will say that was the one time I put my skates on for a hot second because I just saw so much swinging over there. I said, I'm gonna investigate. Although I don't appreciate it because Rich blew up my spot before I even got on the boat because everybody walked up to me in the beginning like, "Oh, so we got to watch out for you." And I'm like, I don't always do that, but I did have to do it just once and just investigate over there. But by the time I made it over to that side, the swinging it kind of died down. I got a couple of nibbles, and then we went back to my actual home position. So for all those out there, for full disclosure, I only put skates on and went and mingled once. So
yeah, you did. You did. I think I did it twice.
Yes. I did it once because you did it to me and I didn't have a spot.
Correct. And the first time I did it, we'll get to that part, but Bill Ackerman, he caught a very large fish right next to me.
Yeah, let's show that. So this is a good story. So Qua, everybody knows him, Tide Chasers podcast. He was set to go. He's one of the first ones to sign up, and he injured his ankle like pretty bad. And I've seen the picture of it, and it's like it was 3 times the size of his other ankle. So he's on crutches, so he couldn't go. So he texted me the day before. I don't know why he waited so long. And he's like, "Do you have anyone that can take this ticket?" I was like, "Give me 5 minutes." And I called Billy first because Billy had reached out and said, "I missed it. I didn't get a ticket." So
Yeah.
Billy buys it. So Billy is on the boat because Qua has injured himself. And once you know, he comes in with, and let's get Billy's fish on here. Right there on the left. Now there's a little spoiler on the right. You can see Kristen, but there's Billy's fish on the left. So that's the fish Qua should have had. Right there. Now, probably not. Who knows if he would have been fishing right where Billy was, but who knows if he would have been able to hook it and land it and all that stuff. But that's Qua's fish right there. And Billy just had the biggest smile about it. He's like, "I was just happy to be here." That's all he kept saying all
Yeah.
day. But he was really happy to have that fish too. This is about, I don't remember the exact weights. I think they're around 9-pounder, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 8, 9-pounder, something like that. So it was
Well,
a good size fish.
they I feel like they weighed them all bled,
They did.
Yeah.
which I'm not a big fan of, but that's how they do things.
Yeah. There was no way around that. JP made it clear. He's like, "We bleed everything immediately. If
Yeah.
it's staying, it's bled." So he bled it, and that was really early though. That was one of the first fish over the board. So it was 8 pounds 6 ounces. 8 pounds 5 ounces is what Billy's saying. So
Okay.
yeah, so it was. I mean, it's tough to weigh something out on the water when you're moving with digital scales and everything.
Yeah.
So 8.5, just shy of 8.5 pounds. That was a nice fish.
Yeah, it was.
And it was just better because he took a picture of it and texted Paul and said, "Thank you." So I want to put up a couple of pictures here because again, we're on limited time tonight. We're not going to push into the Eagles game, but I do want to show some of these pictures. We're going to talk about Kristen's fish in a minute. You can see how those two large ones compare to each other. Female that Billy caught, and then Kristen came through with the male. Got Ray. We got the 3 keepers over there. There's my brother on the left. If you guys haven't seen what he looks like in the chat, the one always making those comments, that's him. You have Shell, who's back in the corner doing some work. Man, I mean, some nice fish came over, right? And it was a slow day though. It started off like gangbusters.
It did. I was getting bites every drop.
Yep. And the last spot, I got 0. I think the last 2, I got 0 bites. There were still people that caught fish, right, Kristen? But the vast majority of people weren't even getting tapped on those last 2 pieces. It just kind of died off, and it turned very grindy through the day. But as you can see by the fish, they were putting us on top of. Definitely.
Yeah, it was a weird current. I think even from being, I don't like when I fluke fish, I normally fish the bow. So fishing the stern is different for me. I pretty much only do it when it's togging. And as soon as we got to the first drop, I'm getting bites right away. Rich is making jokes like, "Oh, here we go. Let me go slide a little closer so I can get on the bite." And then just like that, it was gone. Like I promise. It took like 2 minutes. I let them kind of nip at it. I wanted to see what the bite was going to feel like. And then I went and put fresh crab on and go back down. And so we were definitely swinging. So at that point, I think even JP got on the mic. The captain got on and said, "Hey, I think we kind of slid a little bit. The wind did something weird. Let me readjust." So I would definitely say for me, what was challenging was just how much the wind slash being at the back of the boat and the boat swinging off the anchor a little bit was tough to figure out because in my head I'm trying to almost visualize, okay, so if the boat swung to the left, so it's swinging like behind me because I was starboard right side, then that means, okay, I shifted this way. I probably need to try and throw, I'm trying to throw under the boat different angles and moving around to try to get back to where I originally was casting in the first place.
Yeah, well, and you could tell the wind just wasn't enough at certain times to keep us straight. The current's pushing us out of the south. What is coming from the southeast? The wind is coming up from the northwest, but the wind's not doing anything. So all you had to do is look up and see how the anchor lines were getting a little slack from time to time. There was not much that he could do to keep us in that spot. So there were times where it's like great hard structure, and next thing you know, you're like, it's soft. It's soft. Yeah. But then the other side of the boat's like, no, this is hard structure. And then the next thing you know, they're like, it's soft. And we're like, we're on hard structure. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like that for me all day. Like, I swear, I would drop down. I'd be like, all right, this is great. Good bottom. And then I'm looking around, seeing who's kind of getting stuck and lifting up. And then I started asking around. I was asking Kristen.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, we got to talk about the boat and the crew. Like, look, there's a reason that we do the Osprey when we do these, and it's because look, we could have had a better day. And look, 2 years ago we caught like nothing on the entire boat, but the experience that they give, JP he's a great captain.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna say, and I'm going to say that Ilya, it's the first time that I've met him as a mate on the boat. That kid was all over the friggin' place. Like JP was making fun of him, but he was like my nephew, first time out togging. And by the end of the trip, a lot of it was because of Ilya. He was cutting his own crabs. He was trimming his own crabs. He was hooking them. He was dropping it down. He's setting the hook. He's doing everything the way that you should. And I am proud to say my nephews were grinding. By the end of the day, they were they were on that rail the entire time, pushing through that slow period. Yeah. And a lot of that goes to the mates. And then you had the other mates that were at the other parts of the boat.
And Ilya just had such an amazing attitude.
Yeah,
he just was filled with nothing but positivity. That kid, he just radiated positivity. He really did. And I love that. I love that about people. Because a lot of people tend to get like an ego, like, in this community.
Yes.
And he was just such a fresh energy to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and every time
experience.
Every time he touched a rod and someone snagged, he's like, what do you want me to do? I can break it, I can retie it, one hook, you want two. Usually they just slap something on and hand it back to you.
Right.
He's like getting it all set up. He's cutting crabs. I was like, you don't need to do that, man.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like, and the crew is what keeps me coming back. And I know we're going to get to that at the end, but like, it's been 4 years coming for me going on this boat when I first started learning how to tog. Because there wasn't that many party boats that we knew back then that like really were talking that early in the season. A lot of folks kind of wait, like they like to do the striped bass stuff a little bit longer until it gets better in December. And so like, yeah, it's been every time like in my head, I'm like, I don't think these guys think I can really tog fish, because like I tell them how I go all these other states and I'm catching a 7-pounder here, 8-pounder here, 9-pounder here, and every time I get on the Osprey, I'm like, little shrimp, little 15-incher, but the short. So it was fun to actually kind of finally succeed on this boat when I had such a great experience with the crew and the captain. And again, just he comes down there, cracks jokes next to you, brings the dogs down. Like, I always joke like, there's my little emotional support animals keeping me entertained at the rail. So it's awesome that you have that, and not a lot of boats do that. I will say that. So that I do like being on the Osprey for sure.
There were quite a lot of discussions in the cabin about that and comparing to some other boats where captains are high and the mates are yelling at people. That's not most boats. I'm just saying there are a couple that have that. But that brings us, Kristen, to the drama at the end of the day. And I'll just set it up by saying this. Billy's fish was caught first thing in the morning, like first spot. And as soon as it came in, everyone's saying that's probably the pole fish. And I said, Billy, did you even enter the pool? He's like, yeah, of course. So he's thinking all day. He's not saying anything. He's very quiet and very humble about this fish. And he's very quiet. And he get through. And the captain says, last drop before we head back. And I'm getting nothing. Scotty, you're not going to even get the tap. Most people are.
No, but I did move.
I know.
I did move, and I took your spot.
Yeah. Stole my spot. So I wasn't getting anything in your spot. You weren't getting anything in mine, but right next to mine was Kristen.
Yeah.
Kristen, you want to take over the story at this point?
Sure. So this is where, I mean, anybody who knows me, I really actually struggle with attention span by the end of a fishing trip, regardless of what's going on. Like, you know, especially if it's a slow time. So I'm sitting here like trying to kind of pump myself up, like, all right, you know, this was day 2 for me, so I was already tired. And I had noticed the current was, you know, going this crazy, like sharp angle kind of under the boat. And, you know, at this point, I had gotten so many stags from the boat swinging that like line had to be like, I'm retying connected lines to my braid to my leader and all that kind of stuff. So I literally had this one rod like left that hadn't been messed up. There was no, you know, there was still line on it. I saw everything set up. So I said, well, I'm just going to throw this out and try the jig, because at the end of the day, I'd rather get some little bites and catch shorts than nothing. So I throw the jig out, and it's like going under the stern, kind of almost coming out towards the middle of the back of the stern. And that's when I finally started feeling structure, and I would get a couple little taps. So, you know, I got a couple little taps. And this is the fish before that fish.
Yep.
And so I finally got one. I'm like, oh, okay. So, and it's also a new rod on top of that. And
it's also very light.
Which everybody knows that's just how I fish, you know. I've always said it, like I have some injuries and stuff like that. So for me, keeping the lightest gear possible is what's going to keep the rod in my hand versus me putting it down and just going inside and not fishing. So hook the fish. It's very parabolic, the rod, and that's usually how I like to keep it, because I'm a little strong. You know, I'm a big girl, so I'm a little strong. Sometimes I pop the hooks out of fish's mouth when I'm doing these hook sets. So having a parabolic bend for me gives me a little more give to kind of figure it out and make sure I'm not pulling line. Well, I probably got this fish maybe 20, 30 feet from the boat. It popped off.
Yep.
And I didn't have my drag set right. Again, hadn't really fished that setup for tog. So next thing I do is I loosen the drag just a little bit, test it out, and I say, all right, we make sure we have a little bit of give this time. Next time that happens. So, you know, I try to throw the jig in the same. I'm literally like doing geometry in my head. Like if I throw in this angle, it should approximately land there.
We were talking about that. She did say that.
I was like hyper focusing. Like people were starting to talk to me. I'm like, listen, hold on. Like I'm trying to let me. Then I ended up moving back to the stern because I almost got tangled with somebody, or I did, and they got me out. So I ended up in the middle back of the stern. So I'm trying from that angle. And I'm like, nope, I'm not at the right spot. This isn't working. So I rotate back over to the spot I originally was in, which was kind of in, because I think somebody else was in my spot, my original spot, because it was like Shelly, me, then Rich originally. So because I did that whole switcheroo and went to the back, we got all like, you know, jumbled up. But whoever was fishing next to me, I went next to him and did the same thing, trying to figure out this angle of how to cast my jig under the boat on that right angle to get into the middle of the boat. So finally, I started feeling a couple little taps, little nibbles, and I did have a cheater stinger. But in all context, I did get the jig in the fish's mouth. But you know, I feel a couple little taps, and all of a sudden, the line's gone. So I'm like, all right, that boom! I set the hook. The rod bends over. At this point, I almost kind of black out. Like I'm like not breathing. I'm just like in my head. All of 15 minutes ago, for the only, I don't know, I think I only had 3 or 4 shorts. Like it wasn't a good day for me in context. And so I'm like, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up, Chris. Don't do it. Don't let this pop off. So then when it finally I made sure I got it out of the structure, then it started running. So when my drag started going, I'm like, because I know I generally try to set it. It was like 20-pound test. So I kind of started like 50%. So it was probably at least like 8 pounds of drag. So I'm like, all right, maybe it's the current. So now I'm like in my head, like now I'm like, all right, don't overthink this. It might not be a 10-pounder. You could just have the drag set real loose and just don't lose the fish. Finally it comes up. The mate, I remember Elliot, I don't know if it was Elliot, who grabbed the mate?
It was the other guy.
It was the other guy.
Jimmy. Yep.
Yep.
I call him Jimbo. That's my homie. I met him 4 years ago, so I always tease him like, oh, I remember you. Yeah. So he was like, "You need me to get the net?" And I was like, "Yes." Like I don't even think I said it very loud. Like it was like a quick like head nod because I'm like not breathing and just trying to reel and get the fish up. I remember whoever was next to me tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Let me get out your way. Enjoy it. Enjoy the fight." Because I was stressed out. I was so
Yeah.
stressed out.
Well,
Like,
it didn't help. It didn't help because you're being very calm and focused, and Scotty is next to you jumping around like
I
he
am
won the lottery.
freaking out. I was freaking out. Okay, first of all, I saw the hook set, and then I saw her rod fold. And as soon as I saw that, I knew exactly what she had.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like instant. Like I watch rod tips every day. That's what I do. That's what my job is. And I instantly knew what was going on.
Yeah. The whole back of the boat got quiet. Billy got quiet.
Yeah.
He's like, that could be huge. He's like, and I was like, it's a really small rod though.
Yeah,
He's like, true, but he's like, I think it's big. I was like, I think you're right. And then the reaction when it hit the water. Now we couldn't see it, but the reaction on that side of the boat, all the way up the rail, was, "Oh, there's a decent fish about to come over," and it did. It came over, and I'll put the picture up again for people to see. And I want to point out, so here are the two. Sorry, here are the two biggest fish here on the left. So again, look at Billy's, and look at Kristen's. Kristen's, yours looks so much bigger.
it does.
And I'll tell you what.
Except the belly.
You pulled it over, and Billy gave that smile like, "Oh, I'm so happy for her, but I'm out."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm out." And the mates were like, "No, we gotta weigh him. We gotta weigh him. We'll do it later." And they immediately bled it. Scotty said, "What are you bleeding it for?" JP says, "We bleed everything."
Yeah.
And then we waited. And that's where the drama comes in, because Billy is so sure that he did not win that he decides that he's going to go in the cab. He's going to grab something to eat. So he leaves, and the mates start weighing him, and you can't weigh them individually because it's too close. I mean, they were within a quarter of an inch of each other in length.
They were, and I'll say this. That's not even a good picture of her fish. I took a few and edited that I sent, and dude, that fish was big, really big.
Yeah. So, Kristen, if you want to talk about the final of this thing, because I'll see if I can find one of those edited pics real quick and get it on here. But why don't you bring us through the weigh-in?
Yeah, so that was man, I was like, oh, it's a male. Okay, so the first thought I thought when it came up, first of all, this is me like, I don't know. I was like, maybe it's like, I don't know. I was like, maybe it's smaller. I feel like maybe it's like 7 or something like that. I was like completely undershooting it. I might have said 6 or something crazy. And so then at that point, that's when we brought, he got the metal scale and we started putting it on to balance it. And it was even for a second. And then his fish went down. So I'm like, all right. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's a male fish. Female fish are usually a little heavier, a little chunkier. So I'm like, well, it is what it is. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, it's such a big fish, but the width of his fish, of Billy's fish, it being just a little bit fatter in the belly, that's the thing that caught my eye that made me think, okay, yeah, he probably has this. So then at that point, again, it kept staying pretty close, and then it would kind of tilt down, and we're moving on the boat. So that at that point, I think because Scotty said something, that's when Jimmy took it and literally like put it up against the top of the boat, like just to make sure that it was completely starting even. So we're completely starting even. It stays even for a second, and then his fish goes lower. So I said, all right, Billy won. He won fair and square. But
he won by just ounces. The best part of that story is, again, everybody in the back is seeing this fish. Billy is being a great sport. He's like, I'm out. So he goes to grab something to eat. It's done. The fish are back in the water. It looks like they didn't do anything. And he walks out and he's just standing there. He's like, oh, what a great day. And I said, you don't even know, do you? He's like, what? I was like, you won. And he's like, and then he said a couple words. And I said, no, you won. He's like, no, I didn't. And I was like, you seriously did. And I think Scotty said, yeah, you won. And he's like, shut up. And then everyone's quiet. Like, no one's going to help support because now he's like tortured. So everyone's kind of letting it linger. And then finally, he's like, no, seriously? And I said, Kristen, and you said, congratulations, you won. And he's like, oh my God. Yeah, so he ended up.
I didn't know y'all were messing with him like that. That's hilarious. Like
I wasn't trying to.
No, I wasn't either.
Everybody else was. Nobody else would say anything. But yeah, he was like doing it to himself because he wouldn't believe it. And then he ended up winning the pool. It's just a nice size pool. I think it was like 700 or so.
And I will say this: that literally somebody said it came down to whatever that fish. Whatever fish had a bigger lunch.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. And I'll say this, Billy at the end did the coolest thing that anybody could have ever done. And I'm gonna let Kristen say that.
I want to say that. I want to say, and this is the reason why I said the people on this boat are so nice, because nobody would have done this anywhere else, I swear. And so Billy, at this point, like the same way Billy had kind of conceded, I had sitting down on the cooler, just resting in the day, like, hey, I finally caught a good fish on one of my favorite boats to ever go out on. Like that was it. That was enough for me. Like I was good with that. I'm like, cool. He won. Da is sitting there, and he walks by and he slides me $100 and says, "That was a really good fish. You deserve money for that." No one does that. You know what I'm saying? No. And that's just the kindness of the people on the boat. Everybody in general, it's hard to find a large group of people that kind of share a similar heart. But that's what I felt like I was in all day. And that's what made that kind of, it was sucky fishing experience to a certain degree. Like, if we're honest, like if we were just out there, and it was people that weren't as fun to be around, I might have been in a worse mood. I might have been a little more antisocial and had my headphones on and like not talking to anybody. But just being that type of person, I'll never forget that. Like, to me, I'll always remember that. That's a good dude right there. Like,
it is, and then he tipped the hell out of the mates.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so listen, we're up against the Birds game. I made a commitment that we'd end it quick. I am going to throw this for people before you go. I got two things. First, should be a poll coming through in the chat. Because I've gotten a lot of text messages saying schedule another one. So I don't know if it's actually going to work and come through. But if we do one in the first 2 weeks of January, would you sign up and go? Because if you would, we'll do it again. We'll organize it again. And the second thing is, again, just vote on that before you go, so I can see that if you would. And the last thing before we sign off, first of all, thanks Scotty and Kristen for coming on. It was awesome. Thanks everybody for showing up for the trip. Next week we have Stefanos, owner of Sport Fishing Outlet. He's going to come on. We're going to talk some salt and freshwater fishing and what it's like to own a tackle shop and be a local owner, which will be good. And I'll tell you what, if you've never met Stefanos and you think because his shop is in Pennsylvania he doesn't know saltwater, you are smoking crack. That dude,
he's got an awesome shop, and he's a great dude.
Yes. You can buy anything saltwater in his shop, but more importantly, he can tell you anything saltwater.
Yeah.
And
one last thing too, Rich, you have a shout out to give.
What? Oh, is your mom in chat? They're gonna say hi to your mom.
Yeah.
Hi, Mama Sevens. Yeah, that was nice. That was nice that she texted you and said that she was going to say hi to me. That was nice.
Yeah, she did. She loves you, Rich. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Rich, can I answer one question? I think
about the jig for Joe.
About the jig. So that's just funny. I was literally having it was a panic because I didn't know whose jig it was. Like I literally was hitting up. There's only 3 people I buy jigs from. I'm like, whose jig is this? Because I normally don't use 2 ounce jigs. So there was a lot of things that I did different that I don't normally do. I tend to just jig like an ounce or an ounce and a half. Yeah, with a 2 ounce jig, a Salvo's custom jig, he makes rods now. Like he doesn't even make jigs anymore. So yeah, a 2 ounce jig did the trick. I will say the 2 ounce boxing glove style jig. So he doesn't make them anymore. I'm sure we can find them from some of the other guys that we all know and fish with. But yeah, that was the profile of the jig that worked.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
Thank you.
Salvo's a really good dude too. I can vouch for that.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I will next week let you know if we're going to do another trip. So, let me know in chat, send me an email, text, whatever. All my information is at the beginning of this show. Guys, thanks again for coming on. Thanks everybody for heading out yesterday. That was a great day. I'm still exhausted though. So I'm going to watch and see this game, be overly tired and sleep late tomorrow. I see Mama Sevens now.
Yeah.
Until next week, everyone. Get out there, get on the water, and get some tight lines.